Boeing engineers just pushed a Boeing 737 MAX 10 to a point where failure seemed inevitable. Maximum speed, emergency stop, and heat beyond imagination, when one mistake means catastrophic consequences. Here is the test that just happened and what the results mean for Boeing's future.
Maximum brake energy is a worst case scenario. What we're trying to test is that an airplane fully loaded at maximum takeoff weight, if they were to perform a rejected takeoff at the very last time, that they can still stop with the remaining runway.
We're trying to make sure that we get the most performance that we can. So if somebody's taking off, this MBE number can be the difference between being able to take off with full passengers or have to take cargo or people off. We start with worn brakes. So the brakes are mechanically machined to only have 2% of their life left. So that's in order to represent an aircraft in service for a long time. And then we need to make sure that we're putting as much force into the brakes as we can, because that'll translate into a bigger energy. And the way we do that is we have to throw on a bunch of ballast in the cargo to make sure that we get to that weight. At that point, we'll start the engines and we have a requirement to complete a 3-mile taxi with 3 required stops prior to conducting the actual rejected takeoff.
It's also a worst case scenario because we don't use thrust reversers. So all of the energy is going directly into the brakes to stop the airplane and demonstrate that it is capable of doing that safely.
As soon as the airplane comes to a stop, we shut down the engines, turn the hydraulics off to safe the airplane.
The test condition itself has us wait 5 minutes and really see that there's no uncontrollable fire, no damage to the airplane, to demonstrate really the true response time of an emergency.
After we do this max energy RTO, the wheels get extremely hot. These are plugs that are installed in the circumference of the wheel that will melt when they get to a high temperature. These thermal plugs melt and they release the tire pressure. That allows the assembly to safely deflate, so we don't have any hazardous wheel or tire failures.
We want to look for all these plugs have melted and the tires have started to deflate.
Both brake benders exceeded the goal of 100% MBE. The acceleration and the stopping distances were very, very close to predictions. So the airplane performs exceptionally well.
This better stopping performance that we've provided for the Dash 10, along with all the other improvements on the Dash 10, are going to provide a flight manual performance that our airline customers are really going to love.
The Boeing 737 MAX 10 has just completed one of the most intense safety evaluations in aviation, maximum brake energy testing. This test pushes the aircraft to its absolute limits by simulating a rejected takeoff at high speed. The braking system must absorb extreme heat and stress. This is not just a routine check. This is a make or break certification milestone that determines whether the aircraft is safe enough for real-world airline operations. Boeing's official website featured the testing, stating they are testing the new Boeing 737-10's brakes to the max. The company documented the intense certification process at Edwards Air Force Base. Aviation 2Z reported on April 29, 2026, that Boeing 737-10 pilots completed the brake test. The publication emphasized the significance of this certification milestone. Aviation News Europe covered that the Boeing 737 MAX 10 successfully completed critical maximum brake energy tests at Edwards Air Force Base. The successful completion moves the aircraft closer to certification. During testing at Edwards Air Force Base, engineers intentionally brought the aircraft to a full stop under worst-case conditions. The scenario simulates an aborted takeoff at the last possible moment. The aircraft accelerates down the runway at maximum weight. Just before rotation speed, pilots abort the takeoff. They apply maximum braking. The brakes must stop the aircraft using friction alone. No reverse thrust assists, no aerodynamic braking helps, just the brakes absorbing every bit of kinetic energy from a massive aircraft traveling at high speed. The energy conversion generates massive heat in the brakes. Temperatures sometimes exceed 1,000 degrees Celsius. The brake discs glow red, then orange, then white hot. Smoke pours from the wheel wells. The heat is so intense it radiates visibly even in daylight. Tires are subjected to extreme thermal stress. The entire landing gear assembly experiences loads far beyond normal operations. The goal is to prove that even in emergency situations, the aircraft can safely stop without catastrophic failure. The brakes must contain the heat. The tires must not explode. The structure must not suffer damage. After the aircraft stops, the real test continues. The brakes sit at extreme temperatures. Engineers monitor for any signs of fire spreading beyond the brake assemblies. They verify that heat does not damage surrounding structures or systems. Regulations require that the aircraft remain safe for evacuation. Passengers must be able to exit even with brakes at maximum temperature. The heat cannot threaten the fuselage or emergency exits. Smoke, glowing brakes, and extreme thermal loads are all expected during this test. Passing proves the aircraft meets strict regulatory standards set by the FAA. This milestone is especially critical because the Boeing 737 MAX 10 has faced delays and scrutiny following past issues with the MAX program. The MAX family endured years of crisis after 2 fatal crashes. Regulators and airlines are watching closely. Every successful test rebuilds confidence in Boeing's largest narrow-body jet. The FAA will not approve the MAX 10 without complete confidence in every system. The brake test represents one of many certification requirements, but it is among the most visually dramatic and physically demanding. It proves the aircraft can handle worst-case scenarios safely. The aircraft is designed to compete directly with Airbus in the high-capacity single-aisle market. The MAX 10 seats approximately 230 passengers in typical configurations. This directly challenges the Airbus A321neo. Airlines need high-capacity narrow-bodies for dense routes. The MAX 10 provides this capability while maintaining Boeing 737 family commonality. Pilots trained on other MAX variants can fly the MAX 10 with minimal additional training. The MAX 10's certification and approval carry massive financial and reputational stakes for Boeing. The company needs this aircraft to compete effectively against Airbus. Losing the high-capacity narrow-body segment would be strategically devastating. Airlines have ordered hundreds of MAX 10 aircraft. These orders represent billions in future revenue. But Boeing cannot deliver aircraft until certification completes. Every delay costs Boeing financially and competitively. Successfully completing maximum brake energy testing removes one major certification hurdle. Other tests remain, but this was among the most critical and demanding. The testing at Edwards Air Force Base utilized the facility's extensive runways and safety infrastructure. Edwards has hosted aircraft testing for decades. The base provides the space and expertise needed for extreme certification tests. Boeing's test pilots executed the rejected takeoff procedure precisely. The aircraft accelerated to decision speed. At the critical moment, pilots applied maximum braking. The aircraft decelerated rapidly and stopped within the expected distance. Engineers immediately began monitoring brake temperatures and structural integrity. Data collection continued for hours after the test. Every sensor reading was recorded and analyzed. The successful test demonstrates the MAX 10's braking system performs as designed under extreme conditions. The brakes absorbed the massive kinetic energy safely. No catastrophic failures occurred. The structure remained intact. The Boeing 737 MAX 10 just survived the most brutal test in aviation certification. And what happened is exactly what Boeing needed. The aircraft passed decisively, proving it is ready for the next steps towards certification and service entry.